Business Spotlight, brought to you by Cross Rhythms and Baba Baboon.
I'm Sonia Farrell. This is Business Spotlight in partnership with Cross Rhythms City Radio and Baba Baboon. Joining me in the studio this week, we've got Richard Stevens and Ange Arnold from Stone Food and Drink Festival. Hello.
Hi.
Good morning.
How are you?
We're very, very well, thank you.
Good. Now, Stone Food and Drink Festival, you are a CIC as well,
Yes.
and you're into your 19th year. Richard, I believe that you've been there from the start.
Yes, I have.
Why did it start? How did it all begin? And what's been the journey?
Well, back in 2005, Stone, in common with many market towns, was struggling. Loads of empty shops.
Mm-hmm.
And I was summoned to meet a local licensee who I'd never met before, who said he wanted to meet me. And when I met him, he had this daft idea that Stone might be a good place to do a food and drink festival. Mm-hmm. So he asked me if I'd go to look at the Ludlow Food and Drink Festival, which I think in those days was only in its 4th or 5th year, to find out what they did and how they did it. So off to Ludlow I went. We met some lovely people down there who were very helpful. And we came back and we thought, yes, actually we could do it in Stone. Stone has a wonderful history of food and drink. You know, the Joel's Brewery, the Bent's Brewery, the mill where Hovis was invented. There's lots of lovely little food and drink stories about Stone. And the other advantage for us was that Stone was big enough to do it, but small enough to do it properly. And I know that's a cliche that a lot of people use, but it is so true, because we were determined, particularly on the advice given to us at Ludlow, to do it on a community interest company basis, not to do it for a profit, but to make sure that any profits that we made were ploughed back in. It wasn't to be a money-making organisation. It was to be done for the benefit of the town. So our articles of association specifically say that we're doing it for the benefit of the town and to increase business in the town. And we started in a very small way in 2005. It was just a glorified market in the street at the time, although we felt it was a big event. But we've just moved on from there to the point now where it is a very large event, and an event which has acquired its own very faithful following. So,
And when you first started, you mentioned, just as a market really to start off with, everything starts small. But, do you remember how many visitors actually came to that very first one?
with hindsight, I think we probably saw 3,000 or 4,000 people, but we had a stroke of luck, and these things only happen by luck. One of the ideas that we were suggested to us was that we should have a demonstration kitchen, and we therefore had one in the ballroom of the Crown Hotel, but we couldn't afford any chefs, so we got in touch with a lovely lady who came and did a demonstration for us both days, and she enjoyed it so much that she said could she come back the next year and do 2 more demonstrations, which she did, and that lovely lady was called Mary Berry.
Wow.
And that was before she started her TV career, and the audience absolutely loved her. And of course, when she hit the high spot after 2 years and went on to national television, we had to then employ more chefs. So over the years, up until 2010, we had Gino De Campo, we had the Hairy Bikers, Anthony Worrell Thompson, or half a dozen super chefs. And that, I think, established us as a serious food and drink festival.
Yeah.
But the other important point was that we got the town involved. So the event is run by volunteers completely, and we've got a team of probably 50 or 60 volunteers. Every year they turn up and do all the manual heavy lifting for us, and that makes them feel part of it. And the local businesses embraced it, so we get a lot of support from local businesses. Over the years they've been very supportive, and they still are to this day. So it is a real community event, both in funding and in volunteering. So I think that's the success of it. We've seen other festivals come and go on a commercial basis, but we seem to have stayed the course, and let's hope we can continue to do so.
And Ange, your involvement, you're a director down there as well. I mean, over the years, since you've been involved, what have you seen, and what feedback do you get from the local businesses within the town who talk about the festival and maybe even look forward to the festival?
They do indeed, absolutely. And we get quite a lot of feedback in the fact that the festival, particularly festival week and festival weekend, we get a lot of people who come to Stone to be part of the festival. A lot of the businesses will put on events in the week leading up to it, whether that's a quiz, whether that's a wine tasting, or a restaurant doing a specifically themed meals or that kind of thing. And then obviously over the festival weekend we bring a large audience to Stone. We try and tie it in with the farmers market that takes place in Stone High Street as well, and all the businesses in the High Street benefit from that, with the additional footfall, and it's getting Stone out there and it's making Stone a destination that people want to come back to.
Do you get to hear then, from people who are coming in from like miles as well, miles away? Do you get people from Ludlow?
We get people who've got a big sort of loyal food festival following, definitely. We get a lot of people who like to come to Stone, and Stone's become part of a bit of a foodie, like a food and drink town, like Richard said, in the fact that we get a lot of people sort of coming from the Potteries area that will come on the train down into Stone and then do a bit of a pub crawl around Stone, or go to the restaurants that we've got in Stone, because we've got some fantastic restaurants and venues and everything, with sort of for a night out, for an afternoon out, for a lunch, we can cater for everything in Stone, really. And it just really puts Stone on the map, and the Food and Drink Festival brings those people in and highlights the town.
So now how what we're looking at now in terms of numbers and visitors who are actually coming year on year, how has it increased?
It's gradually increased over the years, and it was estimated for us that over the week of the festival and the weekend we attract between 15 and 20,000 people into the town.
Wow.
About before COVID, 7 or 8 years ago, Staffordshire University did a survey for us. Their business studies department did a survey, and they calculated that the impact of the festival on the local economy increased the economy by over £750,000 in that week.
Wow, it's amazing.
And it was only then that you realise that the festival isn't just people paying at the gate and coming in and having a good time, but it's people catching the bus, catching the train, staying in the town, bed and breakfast, hotels, buying things in town, having a meal in town, and you add all that together and the impact is quite enormous. And I go back to what I said earlier, that the point was that the town at the time we started was on its uppers. If you walk down Stone, there's always a churn, there's always 3 or 4 shops that will be changing hands. But we are very fortunate we do not have the boarded up shops that a lot of town centres have. And most of the shops that were struggling, okay, it's a change in the offer in a town, but we now have a plethora of restaurants and bars, and it is a nighttime economy now, and that will save Stone. I know a lot of people want the little shop back where you can take your shoes to be repaired. Well, we've still got the cobblers, but the old style of retail has changed, and I think COVID has changed things as well. But we've now got an offer that I think will stand the town in good stead for many decades, and we have become the food and drink capital of North Staffordshire.
I mean, for you, Richard, being involved from the start as well as chairman and everything, I mean, you must be so proud of this. I am. I mean, it's been hard work, but you look back and you think, had it not been for the Food and Drink Festival, our town would be like, I'm not going to name any, but we all know them. There are towns that are really struggling, and it's very sad to see it. And although it's a younger audience and I'm getting older, it's great to see people coming to town. We also do other events, of course, apart from the annual festival. We organise monthly street food events.
and that packs the town out. We probably get 5,000 people a month coming in for street food events. We've got markets, Christmas markets, Halloween,
Car
classic
festivals.
cars,
Yeah.
and anything that will bring people into the town. We work very closely with the Stone Traders Group, which is the independent group of traders, and it obviously benefits local traders as well. So, yes, I'm about to hand over, I think, and take a back seat.
Not until after the 20th year.
Oh, all right, I've got to stay another year, have
Yeah.
I? Oh, I better tell the wife that. But yes, it's good to see that this will carry on, and the benefits are enormous, and I'm proud of it.
Good. And as part of that as well, that community aspect, various activities which will probably take place throughout the festival. Is there an educational, like you mentioned, Mary Berry, it was one of your first sort of chefs to go
absolutely.
there and do sort of cookery. I mean, what
We
else
still
is taking
carry on.
place?
We have a demonstration kitchen where we feature lots of local chefs. So we have the like of Jake Lowndes from Little Seeds in Stone, who stars in the Michelin Guide. We've got chefs from the Moat House at Acton Trussell. We've got the Dog and Doublet. And then we do like a talks and tastings session as well. So we have lots of local producers who've usually got stands at the festival. They come and demonstrate and give people tasters and tests and etc. from that. And then we've obviously got our kids zone as well, which is a big thing for us of making sure that children are educated about going from farm to fork, and so we have like a feature where the children can come and see what's going on, see what happens on the farm to how that gets to their plate, being a bit of a big education piece, really. And then obviously we've got the kids zone with entertainment for the kids and street food and everything as well. So yeah, it's a really sort of all-rounded session.
Yeah, and I suppose by doing that as well, again, you're involving all generations.
Absolutely, that's really important.
To keep that longevity, like you say, can keep going.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
it's funny how everything does seem to centre, doesn't it, a community feel as well around food.
Yes, definitely.
It certainly does.
And you see that in the street food events, the families come down. We start at 3:00 and you'll see them families come straight from school on the Friday afternoon and come into the town, and they have donuts or they have pizza or whatever, and we put tables and chairs out in the street, and they'll all come and sit and have a bit of family time and a bit of a treat, and then and it's great, lovely to see the families doing that.
And it seems as well, it's grown from, again, I'll go back to when you first said when it started, just a small market, but it's grown and grown. And again, it must be that enthusiasm with everybody who was behind it at the beginning and how everybody now was involved in it. But there's a lot of collaboration going on, not just, within the town, but like you just mentioned there, outside of the town as well. So again, bringing in more and more people.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, you asked about, do we know where people come from? I hope they're here again this year, but we have regularly had a couple from Aberdeen every year.
Wow.
They were on a canal holiday, 14, 15 years ago. They'd hired the narrowboat from Canal Cruising, a local hire company in Stone. They went through one lock, pulled up on the towpath, looked across and thought, what's happening over there? So they stayed the night, had a super time, and decided to stay another night. And they only did half the holiday they intended to do because they spent 4 days at the Food and Drink Festival or in town. But they now come back every year and stay at the local hotel so that they can still do the Food and Drink Festival. And I hope that they're still here. I didn't see them last year because last year was slightly different, but I'm pretty sure if they can, they'll be back. But when we did the survey I mentioned, the students took details from the people they were questioning, and the range of places that they came from was phenomenal. Obviously, Staffordshire figured very heavily, but the West Midlands and Manchester area was exceptionally well attended. But we had someone from Southampton who was on holiday, and somebody came from Exeter. And you think, yeah, that's spreading the word, and they'll go back and tell people what a lovely little place Stone is, and it's that word of mouth that gets around.
And I'm just going to ask you a couple more things. First of all, what would you like to see I'm going to come to you first with this one, I think, Ange. What would you like to see now? Like, you're in the 19th year of the Stone Food and Drink Festival, going into the 20th year next year. But what would you like to see for the next 20 years? Not just for the festival, but for the town of Stone.
Just it continues to thrive, really, and that's the main thing. Keep it going, keep it thriving, making sure that, we've still got a good level of business, we've got, everything, and keeping it going, really. That's the main thing. Just the festival continues to thrive, continues to bring people together, continues to build on the community, and just literally keep Stone alive and keep it the lovely little town that it is now.
And Richard, for you saw the beginning, right at the beginning. You're in nearly 20 years yourself of being a part of the Stone Food and Drink Festival. What would you like to see for the next 20 years and more?
I would like to think that my equivalent will be sitting here in 20 years' time telling you that the Food and Drink Festival is still the biggest thing since sliced bread. But I would like to think that they would also say, but of course, we've done a lot differently since Richard retired 20 years ago, because I think it's one of these things that needs to evolve.
Yep.
We need to get new blood. We need new volunteers. We certainly need sponsorship, because I think the days of doing it purely on pitch fees and admission charges are over. We need plenty of local sponsorship. But we've got to have new ideas, new thoughts to make sure that the offer is fresh, attractive and new. But basically, it's a food and drink festival. We all love food, we all love drink, so that in 20 years' time we'll still be doing it, but it will be even bigger and better and a vast improvement on what I've been doing.
Well, I'm just going to actually say something else there, because what you've just mentioned, whether it's a, Stone Food and Drink Festival or a business in the town centre or any business, I think it's very important what you just mentioned there, Richard, in saying that things need to evolve and you identify that. And that's something which I think is quite crucial for everything to continue.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, it was a standing joke that we've been doing it so long that we just press a green button and it happens.
People think that, don't they?
People think that. And it's not that way at all. And I never envisaged 20 years ago that we would be sitting here today talking about a festival that's been going for that length of time. But it is very different from the concept that Brian had in those days. But his son is still running the Swan. He comes in on opening day and we stand and we have a drink together, and Brian is up there on a cloud looking down on us, and we always toast Brian, and we always say, I bet he's up there saying, I wouldn't have done that if I was there. And I think it'll be like that in 20 years' time.
Brilliant. Right. Ange, over to you. When is the Stone Food and Drink Festival this year, and how can people find you?
Okay, yeah. Well, we're Friday the 5th, Saturday the 6th, and Sunday the 7th of July this year. So just under a month away now. Time is flying by so quickly. We are based on Westbridge Park in Stone, which is just by Marks and Spencer's and the leisure centre and everything from there. We've got a website, which is www.stonefooddrink.co.uk, and you can go on there and buy tickets, get your tickets in advance. You get a slight discount for buying them in advance. If you don't want to do that, you can pay on the gate, and we're open on the Friday. We open the gates at 12 o'clock till 7 o'clock. And Saturday and Sunday is from 10 o'clock till 6 o'clock. And then we allow all the revellers to go and revel in the town after we've closed.
Brilliant.
Quick correction.
Go on.
The
Go
website
on, Richard.
isn't a co.uk, it's an org.uk.
It is, yes. My apologies. www.stonefooddrink.org.uk.
That's it.
Just say that again, because I speak.
www.stonefooddrink.org.uk.
Ange, Richard, thank you so much for coming into this studio. That's Ange and Richard from Stone Food and Drink Festival here on Business Spotlight with me, Sonia Farrell, in partnership with Cross Rhythm City Radio and Baba Baboon.
Business Spotlight, shining a light on our local business community. Brought to you by Cross Rhythms and Baba Baboon.